What's going on, everyone? It's your boy LOZA. We're back, we're making DM content, and today is a bit of a weird video. It's going to be more about the DM core going forward because it's very unclear what the deck wants to do now. This video is pretty much going to be talking about why I think we definitely need new support, and I believe we have support coming in the new Mega Tins, so that's something to look forward to. Another thing is, if you are a viewer of the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a lot, motivates me to make more vids, and I think you know most of that jazz. Anyway, let's jump into the video. Alright, so the core looks pretty weird. Now, I've got DM and Mana here. I'm just going to put Mana over here. I still really like Mana, but without Anaconda, it's kind of like, what are we extending into? I don't know. So, I think the core, as of now, should be 2 DM. You could even play 3. I don't mind 3. 3 is kind of fine again if you're not playing Red Eyes stuff once again. Like, if you play ref stuff, that's totally fair. But remember, if you play ref stuff, you can't use your normal summon stuff. I'm a big fan of Red Eyes Fusion and the Red Eyes Inside Engine, but I know some people hate it, so let's just look at kind of the more DM-related core. So yeah, DM at 2 or 3. I'm just going to leave it at 2 because I still prefer it at 2. I can't let go. I can't let go of the DM. Oh god, it went in the side. Okay, there we go. Oh man, triple DM players are really getting to me, you know? They're really trying to make me play 3. Tomias at 1. Now, as most of you know now, there is that very nice little combo. And yes, I know some people already knew about it, but guess what? It was irrelevant. Honestly, if you were doing this before, just because you thought it was good, you were wrong. But anyway, the combo with Rod and Souls that gets to Dragoon by using Tomias and Soul Servant and stuff, it's cool. It's not good. It's worse than Anaconda in every way, and some people still don't realize that. And the real reason it's worse in every way is Rod used to search Soul Servant, and Souls used to dump DMG or Mana, and then when you Anaconda'd, you would obviously send your other material, which was DM and Red Eyes, which meant you had a lot of bricks out of your deck, but mainly you had DM and DMG or DM and Mana, or whatever brick you play as your second brick, in the grave, and it meant your Soul Servant was always getting you like either Eternal Soul or Circle, whatever you were missing, or just this if Salvation or Eternal if you just didn't have either. I always found Eternal was better. Yeah, and then you were drawing an extra card, right? You were always drawing 2 with Soul Servant. That doesn't happen anymore. I've seen some players just cut DMG completely, cut Mana completely, like they're like, well, what's the point? We're not going to get it turn 1. Honestly, I can kind of relate to that. I'm just going to put it in the deck core anyway, but she is, like, the second brick isn't that relevant anymore, in my opinion. With Anaconda, we could kind of afford to play it. I honestly think this is more of a thing you take out now. The side's got a couple of random things, but we'll come back to them later. Alright, so triple Rod. Rod is still going to be the main normal summon, so we've got to play 3, right? If you're playing like Diviner or something, sure. We might explore that later again. I know it can't do Anaconda now, but it can do Beatrice and stuff. I don't know, it's okay. But mainly, it can also summon Illusion of Chaos, but we'll get to that later. So the main play now is Rod, really. Rod, normal summon, grab Soul Servant, Souls summon DM, and then Soul Servant stack Tomias draw. Tomias sends Rod to summon, and we get out our nice Dragoon. Or Dark Magician the Dragon. A lot of people are like, I'd rather just get Dark Magician Dragon out in my last video, and I'm just like, bruh, if you don't have Circle or Eternal Soul, like, Dark Magician Dragonite sucks. Like, get out of town. Village with Dragoon is arguably better than Village with Dark Magician Dragonite, considering he's a dragon. It's amazing that I have to point that out still, but yes, alas. Terraforming should really be down here with these cards, but that's okay. So yeah, moving on, 3 Ash. I know some people might be like, Ash isn't that good of a hand trap. I don't give a fuck. It's the most generic hand trap the deck's ever been able to play. I'd say Effect Veiler's kind of in a really good boat here because you can use it with secrets if you have to, or like Hulk stuff. I don't have Hulk in here, but it's fine, you get the idea. So yeah, another really good hand trap you can do is Effect Veiler. Obviously, it's not, I feel like it's not as good as Ash, because Ash even hits those strange decks, like for example, Effect Veiler does nothing into, say, Eldritch or Mystic Mine, whereas, like, Ash can still hit them in, like, some pretty good places, I want to say. So, hand traps are always a bit format-specific, and even subjective, I want to say. Like, you know, people run what they think's good. And Ash is just always generic, right? If you want a card that's always going to be able to be used, great, it's Ash. Obviously, you can get Callbide, get Cross-Outed. Magician Souls. It's still a really good card for us. It's not quite as good, because now it's once again the problem of what are we extending into? There are some nice Link 2 options. I just got Dark here for now, because Dark's probably one of the better ones. But I'm going to leave that there, and we're going to talk about more engines as we get in. Illusion of Chaos. I still think it's a solid 2. On Prep, you could play 2 Prep, But like, I think when you're building a deck at first, just put 3 prep and 2 Illusion of Chaos, and then when you need the room, just cut the 3rd prep. But yeah, 2 and 2 is, I think 2 and 2 is actually the perfect ratio, but I don't know. I still feel like 3 makes sense, considering we really need to get to Rod, Magician Souls, right, to fulfill the whole Tamiya's play to get into Dragon Knight or Dragoon. So yeah, I don't know. I like the 3 prep in like a deck building aspect, and then as you need the room, you can cut back on certain things. Like, even if you play another normal summon, cool, you can start cutting rods down to 1 or 2, right? Kind of a similar process. Hey yo, future LOZA, just button in here to check out the big card I missed. Upstart, absolutely crucial in the DM core, because Upstart plus Soul Servant or Rod plus Upstart allows you to grab the Soul Servant, and you're able to just grab whatever card you need from there. So you can even go Rod, grab Soul Servant, play your Upstart, chain your Soul Servant, and then grab yourself Magician Souls, for example. You can grab yourself Tamiya's, Illusion of Chaos. Anything you need, you can grab, and that is sensational. And of course, Soul Servant will get you the draw later when you do finally send your DM to Field or Grave with Magician Souls. So 90% of the time I find when you have Upstart Soul Servant, you go for Souls. If you did already have the Souls, cool, you can go for Rod or something like that. But yeah, I do find Upstart to be super nice in DM, super nice. Definitely make sure you're playing it. As Matt's pointed out many times, it's one of the best cards we have. So yeah, get on it. Let's look at Soul Servant. Soul Servant's still one of the better cards in the deck. Isn't that weird? Like, it's still definitely worse. Anaconda made this card broken. This card's barely Dark Magician Engage anymore. That's what I like to call it back then, because it literally was a draw 2 with a stack. It's pretty much Engage, right? I know it can be better than Engage, but that isn't really ever going to happen, let's be real. You're not going to play 4 bricks, especially now with no Anaconda. So yeah, I feel like Konami made us a really good card, and we just can't abuse it. I feel like it's a card with a high ceiling, right? Soul Servant has a very low floor and a very, very high ceiling. Like, higher than any DM card, really. It's like nearly on the level of Dragoon. Like, a draw 4 is insane. We're never going to get there. So it's just sitting at around like the middle, because you only get a draw 1 most of the time now. It was probably sitting around here for the draw 2, and now it's sitting kind of like here. It's still okay, but it's just not as good as it was. It's always been more beneficial to me when I either have multiple of these, or like sometimes if you just don't have Circle or Eternal Soul, and like there's no point trying to get one because you won't get the other, right? Or you can go for Circle and pray you hit Salvation Eternal Soul, but I think that's dumb. I think the best thing you can do is just go Magician Souls and just send these to the bin and draw, because then you get to banish them later and draw again. Like, that seems like the best value to me always. It's just from a strictly like card advantage point of view, it's always just been better to me. And I know some people are like, oh, but you want to confirm Circle Eternal, and I'm like, yeah. But if you have neither of them, I don't think you go for them. I think you just blindly draw, because you can draw like Skill Drain, you can draw like a Hand Trap, you can draw Village, right? I mean, look at your hand. If you already have those, maybe you'll want to stack for Eternal Soul. But yeah, I always feel like it's better to just get a random draw at that point. But that random draw can be absolute dog shit. You can draw DM, you can draw like, you know, dead shit. You can draw another normal summon, you can draw another Magician Souls. Like, but the point is, don't be afraid to send these away for draws, right? If the scenario seems appropriate. But yeah, let's get into Secrets, a card I have destroyed for years. I've shat on this card for so long, and after playing a lot of Master Duel, yeah, this card's fine. Okay, I said it. Secrets is fine. But that's the thing, it's just fine. Compared to Ref, it's still a very, very lackluster card, but it does enable a lot of janky shit for the deck. And you know what? Summoning Illusion of Chaos isn't too bad. Doesn't come up much, probably one every 20 games, but it's cute. It's cute. We need one thing in DM, an easier way to access rituals or easier way to access fusions, because we have broken fusions and broken rituals. Have you read Chaos Max? Magician of Black Chaos Max. Like, that card is busted. We cannot abuse it though. Like, Megalith used it better than us. Depression. Dragoon's kind of in the same boat, where other decks just used it better than us, right? Right now, the only deck that plays Dragoon and actually has a top recently was a Subterra deck. I can't remember where it was, but just take my word for it. A Subterra deck, and you know how it works, because they can still flip Guru and do all the Guru stuff with Hidden City, and they can still activate Ref in that turn. So it makes complete sense that after the Anaconda ban, the only deck still winning with with Dragoon, sorry, is actually Subterras. Not DM, of course. So I hate the argument of DM players being like, Dragoon's finally ours. Like, oh my god, we get to use it. No one else to abuse it. I'm like, bruh, like Eldritch using Ref, Subterra using Ref is still better than DM using Ref, but like, go off, King. Anyway, let's get on to the next card. So Circle. Circle is still so bad. I don't care. I will die on this hill. Circle is trash. Its problem is it doesn't go off by itself, and the cards it even adds don't go off by their self. And you can tell me I'm wrong for playing this at 1 or 2. Look, I'm just going to say this. 2 is a perfectly good ratio to play these at. Absolutely sensational ratio to play these at. I would even say 2 is probably the standard moving forward, because there's just not much else to do. And you can just fill these 9 spots with hand traps or other back row traps, right? I think that honestly be fine in a deck like this. We just don't do anything. You'd have to play Floodgates. You have to play like Goes and Match. You'd have to play janky shit like There Can Only Be One, but that would hurt us. But you get what I'm saying. You need to fill the deck with really annoying cards because we don't have a game plan. You could even play Mystic Mine. Look at the Sky Striker list at the top. Go for that. We actually have some very good ways to abuse Mystic Mine, which I could show at some point. But anyway, onto the field spells, okay? Field spells are interesting in this format. Against branded decks, Village is good going first or second. Normally I say, when you know you're going first, side in Village. It's very good. Blah, blah, blah. Beat Striker. Blah, blah, blah. Beat random other decks. However, this form, Village is broke because you verse branded. You go second and you're like, oh no, Village is dead, right? No, because they set branded in red. And you're like, I just hard activate Village before you summon Rod. What do? They have two options. Do nothing, and then you normal Rod and they can't use branded in red or any spells ever again. Or two, you activate Village, they go, oh shit, they're about to summon a spellcaster, and they freak out and they flip branded in red and go through their Chimera stuff and summon out the Banish and the Chimera. The Banish. They summon out the Ice Blade Dragon and the Chimera. The Chimera doesn't get to, gets to pop Village and they draw for that. Cool. Now you just have to play around one Banish. I know that's still hard for DM, let's be real. But playing around just the Ice Dragon Banish, or the Ice Blade Dragon, whatever it's called, that is so much easier than playing around the Pops and then the Ice Jade, right? Like, so, Village is very good. Very good. It forces the branded deck to do something. Or if you're going first against branded, great. Summon Rod, put up Village Pass. Nice deck. I think Alub is 1800 attack though, so look out for that. But it's also a fairy, so if you can get DM on the field, or Dragoon, or Dark, any other DM fusion, or anything big that Aluba can't kill, fantastic. You probably win that game, because all their good cards are spells. Branded Fusion, branded in red. Their field spell that they play at 1, I think, the Despia field spell, you know, any pot card they might be playing, or any just card that outs Dragoon and other good cards in our deck, any back row removal, you just turn it all off. Triple Tactics, you turn it off. Like, Village, this format, broken. Please play it. And because I don't want to brick on Village, so I like the terraforming to go with it, because it gives you the option, like, it's a third copy of Village, but it's also a second copy of Salvation. So it gives us more reason to play Salvation, which makes me want to play DMG, but once again, it's still not that necessary, because most of the time you're just going to send Salvation with Magician Souls to draw, and Salvation has other uses, like being a Tamaya summon requirement, that can be very good, and also just, like, the deck thinning aspect of this card is very good as well. I still like Salvation, and because we're playing Village Terra, like, you may as well slip one in. Even if you got the 2 Eternal Soul, I think it's fine. But you can also just do this, like 1 Eternal Soul, 1 Salvation, and then just recycle that Eternal Soul if you ever have to a Soul Servant. That's an option. Obviously, if it gets banished, you're screwed, but what are you going to do? Skill Drain. I think the deck is Floodgates or bust right now, right? We don't have Dragoon as easily as we would like to, and Dark Magician Dragonite, while we've got a 2-card way to summon it, any interruption stops that. And it's not a spellcaster, and it's actually not that great, because if we use 2 cards to get there, that means Rod has to search Soul Servant, which has to search Timaeus, which means we didn't search Circle or Eternal Soul, so we have to hard open them. That's not good. We want to fulfill the DM triangle, but if Rod's not searching the appropriate card to fulfill that triangle, because we're focusing on the Dragon Knight, we're not getting the triangle formation done, you know, and that's annoying. So I think we got to play those Floodgates, right? I mentioned that a bit earlier, but like Skill Drain's still just a classic. You could play it at 3, you could play it at 2, I don't really care. It's a good card, and now that we don't really summon Dragoon as much, you could say it's necessary to play 2 or 3. I wouldn't say that's too false, you know? So I was saying a bit earlier, you can play Goes and Match. You can play Rivalry of the Warlords. Like, these are totally viable options too. If you wanted to go like 2 and 2, just like a bunch of Floodgates, that would be really cool. You can max out at 3, but I think if you play 2 and 2 of a lot of them that work, then you're going to have a good time. But that's totally up to you guys. So this engine used to be played in DM a long time ago, and I kind of hate it. I don't know. I think back to playing it, it reminds me of old DM, and I just hate that, but it's not as bad now, okay? So Normal Summon Blue Boy is an additional Normal Summon with the Spellbook engine. It's not that bad. The other reason you could play it is because they have a link to Crowley, which could be like the new thing you make. It's just 2 spellcaster monsters, and when it's link summon, reveal 3 spellbook cards, so you confirm that you get one of these. That's kind of nice. It does have another effect where if you would normal a spellcaster that's level 5 or higher, you could do it without tributing. So that's cool, but it won't come up that turn because you normaled Rod. So if it was an additional normal summon scenario, sure, we would easily play this. I'm sure other decks would too, like, but it's not an additional, it's your normal summon, and it just would take that away. So that's kind of the Rod / Blue Boy dedicated spot, so it's like, what are you going to do? But anyway, Crowley is a cool link to play. If you're playing the Spellbook engine, play Crowley, basically. And for those who don't know, Crowley is actually Alistair, so that's pretty cool. Get it? Alistair Crowley? Yep, good reference. Go Google it. Anyway. Alright, another little package I want to talk about is the Bonds package. Now, I played this on Master Duel for a long time before DPE and Anaconda were useful on there, because there really wasn't anything for Rod Souls to do, and I was like, I need to figure out something. And it's not the best, but just Rod and Souls will get you to bond between teacher and student, which will set Dark Burning Magic on your field, and you'll have DM and DMG, so when your opponent does try to make a board, you can flip this at any point and wipe their board. The problems with this are, if DM and DMG are removed from your field, you can't flip this. It's really annoying. It does have to be the original names as well, so you can't cheat it out with anything like Elemental Hero Prisma and all that jazz, because heaps of people want to do that for some reason with Eye of Tamad. Don't get me started, I hate that shit. So yeah, the Bonds package is interesting. My biggest issue with the Bonds package is how bricky they are, right? The spellbook engine we were looking at, they're all good individually. Like, Blue Boy's a normal summon that gets knowledge, so they get secrets, that gets knowledge. Secret can get Blue Boy or knowledge, and knowledge is just a draw 2, so like, if you have a spellcaster, which you should. That engine seems consistent and good. Bonds seems bricky, right, to say the least. Yeah, it makes Circle add more, great. More targets for Circle, but if we're really playing the deck just to make Circle hit, I don't think that's the way to play the deck. I know a lot of people think that is, but I highly disagree. That means you're playing a lot of bad DM cards, case in point, these ones. While these are broken once you have the appropriate setup, they require a lot of things to be going right? And that's the problem with DM. It's like a puzzle deck, and they want you to play like all these fucked up pieces, right? They want you to play like a 7-sided dodecahedron piece, and it's like, what if we just play like a 4-sided or 3-sided, or find the edge pieces first? We'll build the puzzle that way, alright? So what I'm trying to say is you can play this package, but it can be a little bit bricky, and that's not fun. Of course, people mention like, oh, if you have Magician Souls, you can send them for draws, but it's like, you have Magician Souls, you can resolve Bonds, so you're fine. If you have Burning, yeah, it can be another story. Alright, another engine I want to touch on is Dogma. Dogmatic is still a good engine, right? Because Nadir can still send stuff like Natis and Ash Dragon and even DM Dragon Knight, and just get you some resources or disrupt the board or force like an Ash or Bell. And once again, kind of coming back to the Spellbook engine, which you could play with this again, and that's pretty cool. These cards never really brick by themselves, right? Nadir's really good, and the only time Nadir can brick is if you have both of Ecclesia and Fleur in your hand, in which case, summon them out and get them in the bin, and then you can Nadir, so that's great. Yeah, so sometimes if you do open Ecclesia Nadir, one thing you can do is normal summon Ecclesia, no effect, link it into Artemis, and then activate your Nadir, grabbing back the Ecclesia from graveyard. I like that play. It's a good play. Which means from there, like from there, Ecclesia can search your punishment, and then your Nadir can grab. Oh, yeah, Nadir will send Ash Dragon, right, which adds the Fleur in the end phase. So that's one way you can fulfill the whole Dogmatica engine kind of thing, and kind of a brickier Dogmatica hand, if you want to call it that. And you keep the Artemis on the field too, which is, it's not the best, but it just let you kind of generate a resource, if that makes sense. A free card, if you will. And Fleur's still like a good card, especially like if you open Village and you open the Dogma engine, it's really good, right? Because you set up Village with potentially like Ecclesia, Fleur in hand, and Punishment if everything goes unresolved. There's no way for them to kill Ecclesia when you have Fleur in hand, right? Like, yeah, they can kill her, but you're going to summon Fleur before that, or you're going to punishment them in battle phase, and that's normally what I found myself doing. So when I had my day 2 deck for the online YCS Europe, I found some of my games just came down to me using back row with Dogma cards and Village up, and just stopping my opponent from killing my Dogmaticas, and that was it. It was just Village Turbo. And sometimes you got to do that. So I don't mind the Dogma engine, since it's just so kind of strong on its own. The fact that Nadir went to 2 sucks. Like, that makes me almost not want to play it, which sounds dumb, but before it was like 3 amazing starters, Ecclesia, which is a pretty good starter, Fleur, which can be a brick, but normally can summon itself, so it's fine, and Dogma Punishment, which is a good trap going first, kind of lame to see second, but either way, a good engine, a good 5 or 6 card engine then. Now, we've lost the Nadir. Obviously, it's still fine, but that hit from 3 to 2, I feel it. I feel the consistency just lacking a little bit, so yeah, it's a bit depressing. But you can go ahead and play this engine, there's nothing wrong with that, I think it's great. Alright, this next one's a big engine, and it's one that you'll know that I'm quite fond of, but even now, I'm starting to kind of dislike it. There's just not enough, to say the least. So we've got our friend Red Eyes here with the 3 ref. Obviously, if you play ref, you've got to play Red Eyes. That is a TCG ruling. I will not elaborate further. Konami has said you need to use vanilla Red Eyes. I'm sick of arguing with people in the comments about it. Please just educate yourself and go and look up Konami's answers, their Q&As. Look up YouTubers who've answered it in the past. In the TCG, if you activate ref, you need to use vanilla Red Eyes. It's as simple as that. No questions asked, okay? I don't care what this card says. Konami have said that specifically, so shut the hell up, bitch. Here we have the Wyvern package to go with it, or the Insight package, I should say, which is you activating Insight by sending Wyvern for cost. Cost, that's important because sometimes we just like to get bricks out of the deck. You can get Ashed from there, but if you don't, you're going to add yourself a nice Red Eyes Fusion to the hand. Now you can also instead play Return of the Red Eyes, which is kind of like Eternal Soul for Red Eyes. If you control a Red Eyes, so if your ref resolves from here on out and you have Dragoon, you can target a normal monster in grave, so Red Eyes or DM, and summon it. But if this card's destroyed, instead of wiping your field like Eternal Soul, you get to target a Red Eyes in grave and special summon it. So actually a kind of nice Eternal Soul replacement, especially because it summons a normal monster. That can be DM. It doesn't have to be Red Eyes, so it's very cool. So sometimes the games you don't have Circle, I've honestly, like when I was testing with Matt and we're playing the 60 card version of the Dragoon build, I remember us inciting and grabbing Return of the Red Eyes, and on the opponent's turn we were able to summon back DM and Red Eyes and then Secrets into another Dragoon, or just being able to summon out DM and trigger Circle like another Eternal Soul that's way safer and just, you know, searchable via another engine. So yeah, I don't mind this. It's definitely another brick though. Think of it that way. Like, it's another brick on top of Wyvern. So Inside Engine adding 2 bricks, is that worth it? I don't know. I put Spirit here because it's kind of the same, but not continuous. And doesn't have the destruction effect. It's just target a Red Eyes Engraved, special summon it. But what should be noted about this is, it doesn't require you to have a Red Eyes monster. It's just target a Red Eyes, summon it. And yes, you can target Dragoon, for fuck's sake. So many people try to tell me like, oh, you misplayed, you can't Monster Reborn Dragoon, it can't be targeted. Once again, please educate yourself. Monsters in the grave, their effects don't exist. Dragoon's effect to not be targeted is on the field. How does that activate in the grave? Like, do Man-Eater Bug Flip effect activate in the grave? Like, come on, bro. Okay, that was a terrible example, but it's just that ludicrous. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Another Q&A that please just learn how the game works. I don't want to have to talk about that anymore. But anyway, so this card's a little more generic, and it can revive Dragoon. So it's got that to it, right? It's kind of like another Dragoon summoner. And if you haven't read Wyvern, Wyvern can summon Dragoon as well. But you have to not normal summon or set the turn you do that. So it's a little weird to get that requirement. I find the games where you can fulfill that requirement, you're losing anyway. And kind of vice versa. Like, if you can do the other stuff, you just do the other stuff, right? It's probably better. But I don't know. Wyvern really doesn't help. Kind of like, whenever I've used Wyvern effect, I've lost that game anyway, kind of thing. You know, summoning back a Dragoon in defense doesn't really mean shit. But yeah, it is a negate. You think it would be good, but you have to like do nothing with your turn, basically. So yeah, a lot of bricks that you can play with the Inside Engine. I would say Return's almost better, but Spirit can be. They're both good in certain scenarios. But if anything, you'd just play this lineup, right? You'd play the 1 brick with the ref and the 1 brick with the Insight and call it a day. You got 6 more starters for the cost of 2 bricks. That's an okay ratio. Now, of course, once you Insight away your Wyvern and add your ref, if you get Ashed on ref, your refs aren't dead, but every Insight from there is dead, because your other Insights would need to send this Red Eyes to activate, and then you can't activate the ref you search. So bit of a yikes. So yeah, Insight can be very dead. So you could just play 2. I remember in the past playing a ratio like this. So I was like, oh, 5 starters. The chance of seeing a card in your starting hand when it's at 5 is at like a perfect level where you're going to see at least 1, but you're not increasing the percentage of seeing 2 because you only want to see 1, right? The Grand Marju player, Yugioh, he has a great video on 5 ofs being like the perfect ratio. So if you want to check that out, go watch his stuff. He's a really great YouTuber, and I love playing Grand Marju as well. So if you like Grand Marju, go check out Yugioh. He's great, and yeah, his channel's really cool and does lots of deck math things, which is very fun. But yeah, Red Eye's engine, honestly, I know you think I would be a massive advocate for this, but I don't know, it feels kind of weird now. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I gotta build the deck different. You can build the deck like super spell trap heavy, I feel, and play the ref engine, and that's probably the way to do it, because that way, like, if your ref gets ashed, you at least can set a bunch of cards, like floodgates and stuff. So you probably could even, like, cut down on Rod and stuff like that, and probably not play Timaeus, right? And just focus on ref stuff. But then it's like, why even bother playing Rod Souls? I don't know. It's really niche. You can figure it out in your own way, right? But yeah, test out that ref engine for yourself and see. It's questionable. I don't know. The deck's in a weird spot, but let's move on to the next engine. Okay, branded engine. I know we've spoke about it in the past, but why not mention it in this vid? You do have to play Albaz, which isn't too bad. It's much better than Red Eyes, for instance. You get to play 3 branded fusion, which is very good. We do love to see it. 3 Aluba, if you want. Like, it's not necessary. You could play like 2 and 1 opening, or like 2 opening, 1 Aluba. I feel like if anything, you'd go maybe 2 Aluba, 2 open. I don't know. I don't know the ratio for it, and honestly, I hate opening. The reason I hate opening is you need to discard for it. Obviously, it's not for cost, which is really nice, but the point is you need to activate opening, and then you need to summon this guy for free, which is cool, but, you know, you paid 2 cards, so it's not really free. You're going to add your Branded Fusion for there, you're going to activate your Branded Fusion, and that's going to summon out Lubellion, sending DM and Fallen. From there, you need to discard again. Like, you're already at 2 cards left in hand at this point, and you can be very much hand-trapped here and just, it's all gone. Like, use 3 cards, and you just lost it. I'd rather just play Ref and get ashed, right? Rather play Ref, get ashed, move on with my life, have 4 cards to play with or set, and pass. But yeah, getting ashed or interrupted here on Branded, Veilored in this case, it just feels really bad. Getting ashed on Branded Fusion is also very bad because you are still locked under the restriction of only making fusions, so it's not like you can just go make Artemis or like Dark or something. Like, can't play it as a bait really. The only time you don't get locked is if you get like Solemn Judgmented, for example, just like Ref, so it's another engine where you're just playing a worse version of Branded, right? You know what the Branded board puts out negate-wise and board-wise, and, well, no real negates, but you get what I mean. It puts out the Mirror Jade, and then it rotates the Chimera in and the new Mirror Jade, and that's hard to deal with. A lot of decks struggle to deal with that, and that's very fair, and I don't know why you would change that to just the Branded DM version where we just Turbo Dragoon or Dark Magician Dragonite really with Branded. We don't do too much else. Like, yeah, we summon Lubellion, but it's to get to the fusions. We summon Albion to get to the fusions. We can go to Mirror Jade, but we normally want to summon our own boss monsters, and then, like, obviously Mirror Jade's good because when you use it, you then get to send Albion for its effect, and then you get to add another Branded Fusion, which means you can then potentially summon, like, another one next turn and all that jazz. So, yeah, the Branded engine kind of just works better as a standalone thing, or in Despia, for example, which I'm sure everyone knows with the Fright Fur engine. So, yeah, I mean, you could play a Fright Fur engine too, you just have to clean up, like, some preps, maybe take some other things out. Yada yada. I do feel like we need more going second cards as well, so we might address that in a bit. But yeah, Branded engine for those who care. If I played it, I would honestly just play this. And I know a lot of people would be like, that's stupid, like you'll never see it. But I think you'd play this with like the Blue Boy engine or the Dogma engine, and just play a bunch of engines that are good. I've been trying it, but it's just such a mess of a deck. I'm not even having fun. Like, I normally like messy decks, but this is like messy decks that don't achieve anything. It just feels so bad, and all I want to do is get to Dragoon or Dragon Knight, depending on the hand. Like, if I got Circle Eternal Soul, I want Dragon Knight. If I don't, just want Dragoon Village, really. But yeah, the point is the Branded engines kind of hit or miss for me. Like, if you open the Branded Fusion, it's insane, but having to do Aluba stuff to get there sucks, because you still want that normal summon, kind of like how I spoke about the new Timaeus play, where it's kind of shit still. You still want Rod to grab you that Circle Eternal Soul, right? The missing piece. So the fact that you now have to use Aluba to get Branded instead of Rod getting the piece, it's like, well, we're not really doing DM things, we're just doing worse Branded things, so it's a little bit questionable. Anyway, that's probably all the engines I'm going to talk about for tonight. I know I didn't talk about extra decks, so we might talk about that real quick. But please, if you have anything to add to this conversation, please comment down below. Tell me some engines I'm missing. I really think there's no real good engines we can mix with DM for now. It feels bad. I might even try to play pure with just a bunch of floodgates. I'm really struggling to find a deck build that's fun and efficient and just works, right? I think Village is definitely my hot take for now. Please play Village. It's very good. You can side it, you can main it. I think because Branded's so popular that maining it's absolutely fine, but I've been out of the meta for a bit, so Therians might be around, and that's probably a bad call. So maybe just put it in the side. I am going back to locals very soon. I've been super busy, but I'm so keen to be back at locals soon. I'm just so disappointed that Anaconda's gone, and the deck honestly feels so worse. I don't care what anyone says. The deck needed Anaconda or our own version. Like, we are so much worse without it. And the fact that some players still can't realize that is just mind-boggling. Like, they must be playing versus casuals or something. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Soul Servant got infinitely worse. Eternal Soul got infinitely worse because we just don't get DM engraved that consistently from that Anaconda anymore. Which means Magician Souls now, 90% of the time, has to send or summon DM instead of sending, you know, DMG or mana. Which means Soul Servant's worse. You get what I'm saying? Anaconda going didn't just mean we lost access to Dragoon, which a lot of people still don't understand. We lost so much more that day, and those people really need to check themselves. Like, goddamn. Our deck is not good, but Dragoon did cheat us games and won us games we shouldn't win normally. But now that's gone. That consistency is gone. We do need our own DM Link. But that's and a DM fusion spell that's not shit, and also is restricted to just us. I don't know how they're going to do that, but they need to. Anyway, let's talk about the extra deck real quick before we go. Dragoon, I've only got it at 1 now because I think Magicalize is a bait without Anaconda. You could play it if you want. I think it's kind of shit now. No Ref, obviously. No Anaconda, doesn't really matter. Even with Ref, I'd still probably just play the 1 for now because, yeah, Magicalize, don't really want to play it anymore. Dark Magician Dragonite at 1, once again, once you get 1 out, it's normally fine. You're going to use Tamias to get it out most of the time. Secrets some of the time, but mainly Tamias play. And even then, it's very inconsistent. I really don't like how easily it stopped. The Dark Master of Chaos still doesn't feel like it deserves a spot, right? The boys have been showing me some cool things with it, like if you just have Illusion of Chaos, search Rod, or if you open up Rod Souls, but Illusion of Chaos gets to one of them, you can actually like cheat your way to an OTK. Using secrets and stuff, which is cute. They have to have an open board, which is stupid, like they have to have bricked. But it's nice that Master lets you do that, because it's like Rod in battle phase, swinging, DM swinging, and then you activate secrets, fusing Illusion of Chaos and Dark Magician, Illusion of Chaos from hand, Dark Magician from field, into Master of Chaos, which will bring back DM, and then you have game from there. But it's very niche, and I don't think it'll ever come up where it's relevant, right? And I know DM struggles to OTK, but that's why we got stuff like Access Code to help. And yeah, I think we just play Control apart from that. I think it's fine. So I'm going to say Dark Master of Chaos isn't really needed. You can definitely play it if you want. I thought it was shit on release, and it's not really much better now, I want to say. Like, any fusion we got after Dragoon was going to feel bad. Let's put it that way. It's not really his fault. If he came out before Dragoon, we'd be like, cool. But, like, having Dragoon and then getting Master was like, why, Konami? Like, what does it do? If the effect to banish the field was a quick effect, maybe it'd get played. It's hard enough to summon that I think it being a quick effect would have been fine, but Konami things. Dark Magicians, I've grown to really like this card. I know a lot of people say, oh, you got to play Dark Magician Go to get maximum value on it. I don't even think that's necessary at all. Like, it's still a pretty good card, and you're mainly playing it for the draw 1 anyway, or the battle phase swing into, fuse into it for extra damage, like OTK potential. Which is okay. It's still not amazing, and like we barely OTK, so it's not that important. I feel like the games where you have game with this deck, you have it by a long shot because you've controlled the board that much. But you know, go off Sis if you think it's really good. But yeah, this summoning the DM and the DMG can be really nice, but it's also not that relevant. Like in my head, if they had something to pop DMs, they're going to have something to pop DM and DMG as well. Like, they're just going to go into access code, right, and go pop, and then you summon the dudes, they're just going to go pop again. Like, it's stupid. Another thing to note is, if this is killed in the damage step and whatnot, like, or when it's killed in the battle phase, by battle, yeah, you can still summon DMG and DM. That still happens, but Circle misses timing, because it's within, I believe, the end of the damage step, or something similar. I'm probably not quite right, but it's at a phase in the damage calc, or past damage calc and whatnot, still in the battle-ish, not battle phase, but like the damage calcing kind of thing where effects would go off for destruction. It's still in that phase where Circle can't activate, like trigger effects don't activate. It's only stuff that modifies attack and defense and whatnot, or hard negates. So people don't know that either, so it does actually miss timing, which is big bullshit. or it just, yeah, it can't activate. It's not so much mistiming. You literally just can't do it. So, yeah, it's kind of shit. So yeah, I don't know. I still like Dark Magicians. Master Duel definitely made me like this card more. So kudos to everyone who's been telling me for years it's good. You're not 100% wrong. It's just so bad compared to Dragoon and Dark Magician Dragon Knight, right? Like, if we could summon Dragon Knight and Dragoon with the ease we summon this, we wouldn't even consider this card. Let's be real. Let's be real. But anyway, just a nice little access code engine of Selene, Dark, and access code. And of course, these are spellcasters, which is great with Village, because 1850 is a pretty good stat, and they both have it, ironically. Also, Dark can go ahead and grab something out of their grave, like a DPE piece. I know that won't be up as much, but you get what I mean. Any Dark. And you can just link climb for free. So Hulk probably should be in here. I'm just going to put in Hulk. Hulk needs to be banned. I'm so glad OCG banned Hulk. If we're going to ban Anaconda, we're going to ban Electromite. I just think ban Hulk as well. Like, we can't have the Pendulum and Fusion card banned because they're like older mechanics and they're trying to help them. Why does the Synchro one get to stick around? Why does Hulk get to have like 17 tuners banned and still exist? And like Auroradon combos and fucking Isolde combos that use it. And it's just like, Konami, just unban the 7 tuners and get rid of Hulk. Like, I know it's a Link and it's new, but it's been around longer than both Anaconda and Thingo. Every other Link too, honestly. Just get rid of it. No one cares about Hulk combos anymore. Everyone's sick of them. Just kill the card. But you could play it with E-Tellies, Effect Veilers, with Ghost Ogres, and you get what I mean. Like, you can normal summon hand traps and then souls and go into Hulk, go into Selene by summoning Effect Veiler out, and then go in access code kind of thing. Sure, it's an option. I'd rather not waste my normal summon on a hand trap, right? That's my kind of vibe, so yeah. But you can do that if you want. Obviously, Emergency Teleport makes that a lot easier to do. I still really like Link Spider and Rhyme Doc. You can just play one or play both. It doesn't really matter. If you need the space, I normally cut Link Spider. But it's kind of better in some aspects. But, you know, being a dragon, I always feel like you want to play this. Just in case the Secrets Play with DM comes up where you can actually, you know, go into Dark Magician Dragon Knight with the I'm Doc, which is really nice. Or Dragoon. That's an option too. And obviously, Magicalized Fusion with Souls still makes Dragoon using I'm Doc, but I still don't think playing Magicalize is worth it just for that. But you could definitely make an argument for it if you wanted. I still think this is our best Link, and the fact that a Link 1 suits our deck so well and it doesn't do anything is crazy. Like, this is proof Konami needs to give us a Link 1 that basically does a little bit. Like, I've spoken about this countless times on Discord, in Dark Magician group chats and groups, on this channel. A Link 1 that just did something simple for the deck. It could be like, it stacks a card from deck. It could be just that. It could be like, it sends DM to the grave, or like a DM listed spellcaster. It could be like, it searches Timaeus or Eye of Timaeus. I know people are like, oh, Eye of Timaeus searching. I would honestly play Eye of Timaeus if like the Link searched it or some shit. Like, I'd just do it on it. But I don't think they'll do that because they gave us a new Timaeus. But that's what I'm saying. It needs to do something, and even if it's just minimal, it's better than nothing. Because Artemis is so good in this deck with Rod, just because it puts Rod in the grave. And getting Rod in the grave is so crucial to the deck recycling and rebuilding and just being that kind of control deck that it's meant to be. So yeah, I really like Artemis, and I do hope we do get a Link 1 in future. A Link 2's okay, but a Link 1 would just work so much better with Rod. And obviously Souls would probably be able to make it too. But they can't make it too generic because every deck under the sun's playing Illusion of Chaos and Souls as an engine with prep as well. So like, you have to be really careful that they can't let other decks abuse it, because they could go into it. Like, if it just says a DM spellcaster, for example, to go into the Link 1, well, then anyone playing the Illusion of Chaos Magician Souls engine can use it. So they have to be careful what they word on the Link 1. But honestly, they should just like make it activate Circle from deck. Like, that would be a cool effect, and go like hand in hand with Salvation, which means all your Rod searches would then be for Salvation, for Eternal Soul, or vice versa, like just either one of these. And then Circle would always be gotten off like the Link. Like, how cool would that be? That could work, because Circle's really dated and kind of trash. Or the Link effect could be like, your Circles can now add DM monsters. That would be really nice too. Just things to buff the deck that, like, Artemis doesn't do. That would be nice. And the Link doesn't have to have 800 attack. It can have 0. I don't care. Give it 200 attack. I don't care. Just give us an effect that helps DM. Anything. Just a nice little consistent boost to help DM. That would be huge. Anyway, the side deck's kind of irrelevant. Dark Magic Attack's okay to play at the moment. I still say it's a side card. If you want to main it, be a monkey. But this deck goes first, and this card doesn't do anything going first. So I think you're just wrong to play it in the main. Even in like extreme formats, I want to say. Even Village is a bad card going first, but the fact that it's so good this format kind of validates it. But be sure to cite it if you disagree. Like, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, anyone who main decks this, I just disagree. I'm like, just side it. Like, just side it with Duster and Cosmics or whatever. Change of Heart, it's at 1. Play it in your side, please. It's very good. And also Return of this card. I don't know. I haven't been playing this card for ages because it clashes with Ref, but Pankratops is an absolutely amazing card. So let's please welcome back the king that is Pankratops. He is an absolute Chad, and I love him. But yeah, if you're playing Ref, you probably don't play the Pankratops, but that's fine, that's fine. Nibiru's not even good this format. It's just here because I feel like the DM deck's only good when you can play Nibiru. And the reason for that is this deck suffers from being so bricky that, like, look, you're running 3 prep and, like, you're just trying to get to the combo pieces to just achieve 1 banish with Circle and Eternal Soul and DM, right? That's all we're really trying to achieve, and we try to heighten it with other things, obviously, like Dark Magician Dragon Knight. And people really come and tell me that my Dark Magician triangle is, like, incorrect, and they're like, the real best triangle would be, like, this card and this, and I'm like, I'm talking about the simplified game plan of the deck, man. Like, come on, I'm not being literal, like, you only want this. Obviously, if I can get this, it's a lot better, isn't it? But anyway, the fact that getting this takes 20 million resources or just too much time is stupid. So yeah, Nibiru's always felt like a correct hand trap for this deck because it's like a big blowout hand trap, and this deck needs it because of how slow it can be and how little we summon sometimes. And I always found it was nice to also have an extra body to get to Anaconda, but it's definitely a side deck card because you'll know when there's a matchup where it's very useful, like against heroes, it's a no-brainer to put 3 in, and there's other decks that I can't remember off the top of my head, but it would be a great addition. Like Drytron can be okay. I don't even know if that's played anymore. I don't know how Therians play and all that jazz. I really need to get back into the meta. But yeah, Nibiru's a fantastic side card. It is a bit format specific, but I just like how well it works in DM because we just don't have big bodies sometimes. So yeah, if you are gonna play Nibiru in the main, please, or in the side or main, please play Anima and always summon the token under the extra monster zone because your Magician Souls is then able to out that token whenever. And yeah, I know you got Circle, I know you got Dragoon Pop, but you're not going to see them every game, and you've got a lot of ways to Magician Souls because you've got the Preps, Illusion of Chaoses and whatnot. So it's actually very nice to just have that extra interruption as well. And if you are playing mana, it's a really good thing to point out that people will try and negate Anima's effect, right? And then you can just chain mana and bin and summon out, and then you can go into a Link 2, like Dark, for example. So I like mana still for kind of Link climbing and being that oppressive second brick that can actually come out and help you like Link climb and just be annoying and just keep reoccurring herself. I still think she's way better than DMG. Even with secrets and like Salvation in the deck, I still think mana's low-key better. But once again, I would just say don't even play them at this point. It's almost at that point where it's just like not even worth it. But anyway, Nibiru's interesting card, format specific. I'll let you know whether I think you should play it right now soon. I am going to go back to local soon, as I was saying. So yeah, wish me luck, and if you have any suggestions for the deck, please let me know. I'm very lost on what to build with the deck right now. I would appreciate if the Dark Magician community could come together and try to come up with something new to do with the deck. It could be a new engine, it could just be refining the lists, new tech cards, more floodgates. Like, I don't care how degenerate it is, it could just be like Solemn Judgment with a bunch of floodgates, Inspector Border, I don't care. Help us make the deck good. We need to make Dark Magician great again, and it's going to be difficult because we're out of generic resources to use, and it's getting pretty grim. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this chat, and I hope it's kind of made you start to cognitively think about what we can do with the deck moving forward. And yeah, drop your suggestions down in the comments, please. And if one of them's that awesome, I might make a video on it, or we can talk about it. And that's the thing, I love to reply to my comments, so please get down there and drop me something, and we'll have a chat, and that'll be great. I'm happy to be back, finally answering all my messages. I'm so sorry I've left them for so long. I've just been really busy, but jumping back into that now. Thank you so much for supporting me and the channel. Please hit that subscribe and like to motivate me to make more. And we're going to make DM awesome. Thanks so much for watching, guys. This is your boy, LOZA. Peace.